Wee. Right, so we've created our circles. That circle cutter was dodgy as. Kind of scares me using that thing just in case. I mean, even with glasses on and kind of keeping myself away, I'm still kind of under the impression that I can't fully trust it. You can see that from the shininess of this purple heart that friction was building up massively, and it does smoke something serious. So what we did was we just marked out our center point on the purple heart, got a smaller Forstner, cut into it, then we took another drill bit, went in a little bit more, and then used the circle cutter. I think the trick is to wax the tips, the cutting tips. It does seem to allow it to go through a bit smoother, especially if you go slowly. Next thing we need to do is take these down to 25mm, because that's the size of the Forstner I've got for the ports at the back. And what we've built here is just a quick jig. All it is a bit of a cheap chopping board to allow it to sit into here. Dowel, a bit of ply. The way this should work, hopefully, is that we slot this over the top, and then we'll approach it really slowly and just twist this manually. Let's see how this goes. Right, it sort of worked. I mean, it's doing what I wanted to do, which is rounding off these edges and making it closer to 25mm. And they are at 25mm. The trouble is, there's a difference between where the Forstner bit initially goes in and where the circle cutter is cutting as well. So it's creating the kind of wall I want on one side and a slightly thicker wall on the other side. The others, the first 4 that I cut, aren't as bad, but I think we're going to have to find a way to address this. I might need to cut some more circles until I get it right. But it doesn't matter for these few that we've got, because they're going to be tests. So we'll get onto the resin part and see what our samples are going to be like. So we're going to make some resin samples using these 2 here. You can see there's the others that I've cut out over there. The reason I want some samples is I normally work with brass. So this bad boy here. But what I also wanted to try was some gold mica powder. This stuff was going pretty cheap on Amazon. Haven't opened it yet, but I do want to see a sample. I just want to see what the reflective element is like, this versus this. If it means that I don't have to go through the whole sanding process, then I'm happy to try this, because brass powder usually means that I have to sand up to about 3000 grit. Takes a bit of time. So let's mix up some resin, let's do some samples and get them cast. Whew. Just opening that, the amount of glitter that came out of there, that mica powder, I'm going to end up looking like an extra in Twilight. Let's have a look. Ah, is that even registering a gram? It's not even. Okay, something wrong with the scales. Let's leave that at that. That's our 2 samples. Just going to leave those overnight and see what happens. This isn't too bad actually at the moment. I know the brass looks dull, but I'll show you what that's like after I've touched it up and gone through the usual process. Okay. It's been a day or two, and we cast our samples, and then we've polished them up to 3000 grit, because this is usually what I finish on my boards at. Now, as an experiment, I knew what the brass was going to end up like. I mean, you can see that it reflects. I mean, the camera doesn't pick it up perfectly, but you can see that it's really reflective. What I wasn't expecting was that the mica powder would just become dull. I'm sure there are other people out there that have more experience with mica powder, but I wasn't expecting it to go dull. I was expecting some sort of flex to at least shimmer or shine even after polishing. And these eventually, just as a test, coated them with a little bit of mineral oil because I just wanted to see whether that would improve it, but it didn't. So these were the original blanks that I'd created. Wasn't quite happy. You can see that they're slightly off, so I changed the order of operation and instead ended up cutting them with the circle cutter first, and then eyeballing the with a Forstner. These aren't perfect either, but they are a lot better than my original first attempt. So that's worth noting. I'll remember that in future. I'm sure I'll find a better mode of operation and be able to get them sort of down first time without having to do this all again. Before we can do any of the pouring of the resin and putting in those little ports, we've got a little problem. You might not be able to see it, but this is cupping like nobody's business. It's only 12mm thick as it is, which would have been fine if everything was going well. But from edge to edge, so from here to here, in the center, it's 3mm of difference. So if I have to put it on the planer, that means I've got to take all this off to flatten this back out. Now, it's about the same on the bottom as well. So, because this is where the feet are going to be, well, either side, yeah, so this would be the top. Underneath, that poses a problem. So I could flatten that out and leave this slightly curved, but it will reduce it down to 9mm, which is sort of getting a little dicey, because any sort of fluctuation and change in humidity, it's really going to sort of flip out. What I might do first is put it on the planer sled, take 3mm off, or sort of close to that, and I'll come back to it and have a look and see what I think, because it might be a case of redoing this and making another one.